in California seen any of the, or become aware of the videos that we have doing interviews for Voce?
Not that I'm aware of yet.
Okay. So we've, in the last week or so, we've done 10 interviews with prospective advertisers, but with attorneys here in Las Vegas for Voce. It turns out it's a great way to do our interviews for the magazine, our new magazine.
Can you explain Voce to our students here? Because a lot of them aren't really clear.
Okay. So this is Voce.
Okay.
This is a magazine that the school produces.
Okay.
And let's see, how many people here work on Voce? One. How many people? What are you guys watching? Everybody's looking at their screens. Well, you should be looking at me, not at your screen. Okay. So when it's live, live means live. Okay. So how many people work on Voce here? 1, 2. Dan is back there. 3. Mario, 4. 4 people spend a lot of time on it. So this is the magazine, and this is the February edition. It's actually a tabloid. So it's about bringing a NHL hockey team to Las Vegas. But this is the magazine for the Italian-American community here in Las Vegas. So it's a thing that we produce, and it's very good work skills for students, employment skills, because being able to produce and publish a magazine is something that when you go in for a job interview and they say, well, what experience do you have besides what you learned here at Larson in the Cloud, to be able to say, well, this is something I worked on, would be good. So anyway, my point was we've been doing a lot of interviews. We encourage everybody to watch them. But this week we're going to continue with employment planning. And part of the reason here, and this I think will tie in both of the things, meaning Voce and the magazine and the interviews and employment planning, is one of the stories, the feature story in this month's issue of Voce, is for a big employer here called Fifth Avenue Restaurant Group. And we are working with them to get them to promise that they will hire all of our graduates. And that would be a great thing. Technically, we're not allowed, nobody's allowed to make promises. No schools are allowed to make any kind of promise. But this would be a promise in the contract sense. Okay, what makes up contracts? What's fundamentally a contract? Okay, what is an agreement? What's an agreement? Okay, it's where each side makes certain promises to the other. I promise to cut your hair if you promise to pay me. I promise to do this, you promise to do that. And it's legally enforceable. So what we want as our first thing is to get Fifth Avenue Restaurant Group to promise that they will hire all of our people. Fifth Avenue Restaurant Group is like the 900-pound gorilla of restaurants in Las Vegas. They have 50 restaurants, and they're in food courts in the major casinos. Okay. They have 900 employees. So even if you started out bussing tables, there's the opportunity to one day become the manager of a multi-million-dollar restaurant, like a Nathan's Famous Hot Dogs, Johnny Rockets, Haagen-Dazs, I don't know, some other ones, I can't remember the names. So thus, since they're going to be hopefully coming in next week, we need to be prepared for them. Be prepared that you have your resume done, be prepared that you're ready for an interview, even if it's a non-formal interview. What's a non-formal interview? No, that would be a practice. What's a formal interview?
When you go into the office.
Scheduled interview.
A scheduled interview would be formal. might be in the office, it could be at a bar, it could be at lunch, it could be in a lot of places, but it's a scheduled, I'm interviewing you. So what's an informal interview?
Like running into somebody.
Yeah, anytime you meet somebody that is not a formal interview. Anybody who could be an employer. Anybody who's thinking about, would I want to hire you? Would I want to recommend you for a job at my company? That happens all the time. We just kind of think that there's only one kind of interview. What kind is that? Formal. We kind of think there's only one kind of interview, and that's a formal interview. But there are formal interviews and informal. The better you are prepared for the informal interview, the better it will be for you. People who feel they're lucky, it's usually not that they're lucky, it's that they're prepared. So they happen to meet somebody, that person likes them, and that person says, hey, how about this? Because they're prepared. You have people that have their problems, the day-to-day problems that we all have, but then when you take those problems with you, when you meet somebody, you don't do your best, you don't impress them, and then they don't even want to get to the stage of a formal interview. That's what's going to happen when Frank Bonanno and his HR people come. That's absolutely what happens when the woman from Station Casinos is here. That's an informal interview. Okay? She's judging individually, and she's judging the school. So think in terms of be prepared for the informal interview. And if I put up one video that's like how to answer who am I, if I put up one little 3-minute video, what you should be thinking about doing is, that was pretty interesting. Maybe I want to go look and see some other videos that they have. Okay? The more prepared you are, the more things look like opportunities. If you think that opportunities only come around once every while, like if there's a formal interview, guess what you're not going to see?
Job.
The other opportunities. And that one of them could be an opportunity for a job. But usually, if you just get people to believe in you, then they'll believe you. And if they like you, your opportunities will come your way. So as part of that being prepared, we're going to talk about our proactive employment plan. So once again, what is a reactive employment plan? Right. It's doing what everybody does who thinks they're looking for a job, that wants to confirm no one will hire me, or it's really hard out there. Because you do it the easy way, also known as the lazy way. It doesn't take a lot of effort to send out 10 resumes a day. How much time would you think it takes, Dominic, to send out 10 resumes a day via email? Huh? How long do you think it would take to send 10 resumes? That long? Okay.
Copy them, send them all.
10 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
Make one else, copy them all. Send them all.
Okay. All right. If you're really good, it shouldn't take you more than half an hour to send out 10 resumes. Okay. Now, if you care about getting a good job, do you think it's worth more than a half an hour's worth of effort? Okay. You know, it's your career, right? It's your life. It's your decision of whether you want to be a wage slave and take what people give you, or go get what you want. So, we have a proactive plan, not reactive. Reactive is basically you wait to see who's hiring, and then you throw your hook into the water and hope that fish bites your hook, as opposed to the other 100 or 400 hooks that other people threw in. People who maybe have more experience in that job, people who maybe don't have any baggage in that job. So if you throw your hook into the same place that 100 other people have their hooks in, and they have more experience or less baggage, do you think you have a good probability of getting a job? No. Okay, but people are lazy, right? So other opportunistic people get you to think of, hey, subscribe to our service because instead of you throwing 10 hooks out there, we're going to throw 1,000 hooks out there. Okay, what if your hook has nothing on it? Everybody else's hook has bait. Okay, what if you're the only hook and you have no bait on your hook? What if the fish are really, really hungry?
They ain't going to
You probably, good morning, Keith, you probably aren't going to get that fish, right? Because why would a fish, no matter how hungry it is, just want to eat a bare hook? So that's the reactive approach. And again, like we talked about early this morning, people prey upon other people's laziness. Okay, you're lazy, let me do the work for you. Because you don't really want to do it, and you're not that good at it. Well, why aren't you good at it? Because you've never done it before, right? And because I told you you're not good at it, and I told you I'm the expert. So if I tell you I'm an expert and you believe me, and I tell you you're not good at this, are you going to believe me? Yeah, because you believe me. So then you're going to think you're not good at it. So if I say do what I tell you to do, just sign up, subscribe, pay me, are you going to do it? If you have the money, and if you're lazy enough, you will. Or if I'm persuasive enough, you'll do that. But that's not going to end up getting it done. So what it takes to get the job that you want is to put in the time to do it right. And that is the proactive plan. Instead of saying, I'm going to invest 30 minutes into my life of throwing my hook into places where 100 other people are throwing their hooks, is to say, I'm going to get a lot of bait on my hook. I'm going to find out where the good fish are, and I'm going to go fishing where other people aren't fishing. That's my first choice. If I can go fishing where there's no one else, I've got this bait, there's hungry fish out there, I have the bait on my hook, no one else is there, what's going to happen? Yeah, it really is the same thing. But a lot of people, just want to go to the place where everybody else is. They don't want to spend an extra hour walking back upstream or downstream because, there's bushes and you might scratch your legs. There could be snakes. I could twist my ankle on a rock. Nobody else is back there, so it's probably not any good anyway, right? We can convince ourselves to do anything. And then you don't catch the fish. But you might have fun drinking with everyone else, right? But you come home and you have no fish. So the proactive approach is to not do any of that reactive stuff. And it starts with figuring out what you want to do. So there's two things. There's jobs and there's careers. So a job is something that you do for money. And it's okay. It's okay to do a job because you need money while you're waiting for a career. Yeah. While pursuing a career. Okay, we talked about this before. What do actors do as they're pursuing their career, while pursuing their career? Anything, what do they like to do? Wait tables, good money, they get a chance to practice, being out there, dealing with people back and forth, and practice memorizing your lines during breaks with other people, whatever. Okay? Jobs are things that you do for money, and it should be while pursuing a career. If you end up doing it just for money, otherwise, let's look this way, danger. Danger is what? Becoming a wage slave. What is a wage slave?
You just go to work every day to get your paycheck.
Okay, somebody who gives up their freedom. They give up their freedom to do something they don't like doing that doesn't lead anywhere. They come home at the end of the day and they say things like, life sucks. Okay, or my life sucks. Okay, the danger of jobs is you become a wage slave. Why? Why do we end up becoming wage slaves? We end up becoming wage slaves because we're lazy. We stop pursuing a career. And you hear it all the time. You see it in movies all the time. Yeah, my dad wanted to be a doctor, but he was a janitor, and then he decided he was going to raise us kids. Is there anybody who was a doctor who was a janitor before they became a doctor? Yeah. And what does Stoicism say about virtue? If one person, any virtue that one person can do, other people can do. You just have to be committed. And that's like the video that was before today's thing. You have to be motivated. You just have to do it. You have to commit that you're going to do it. So we have jobs. We have careers. And there's two types of careers. Calling and a destiny. Okay? Anything you do for money is not a career. People say, why do you do that? And it's, well, the money's good. That is a job because you're doing it for the money. Okay? A career is something you do. It's either a calling or a destiny. And what is that mean? What is a calling? I've said it before many times. What is a calling? Yes. Something you would do for free. Okay, something you do for free. Okay, now everybody has to have something that they would do for free, like a hobby. If you don't know what you do for free, ask yourself, well, what would I do? What would I like to do for a hobby? What would you like to do for a hobby, William?
Paint cars.
Okay, how about you, Lisa? You'd like to canoe for a hobby? Okay. Can you canoe? Okay. Okay, good. Hiking. Okay. How about you?
I read books.
For a hobby. Okay. How about you, Joseph? Bowling. Marcellus? Huh? For a hobby. Okay. How about you, Rashawn? Rayshun? Okay, video games. Zafira? Okay. For a hobby.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. So. That's John Johnson. See, that just demonstrates one of the great things about Google Voice. It was ringing on the computer. It's ringing here. You can have it set to ring to multiple numbers. Okay, so anyway, allow me to recap. So everybody has something they can think of as a hobby, right? Somebody makes a living doing things so other people can have those as hobbies, right? What kind of hobby would you do, Rodney? Paint cars? Collect cards. Cards? Like all sports cards? Okay, collecting cards. Are there people who make money, not as a hobby, but supplying cards? Yeah, San Diego, there's a company called Upper Deck. Are you familiar with them? Upper Deck, huge place. I've been there because they had baseballs that they were doing at one point. with people's pictures on it. You can make money. You can go get a job or have a career in something that you'd have for a hobby, because somebody makes the materials that you need for your hobby. If your hobby's reading, does anybody make books or make things to read? Yeah. Okay, cars, we don't need to talk about that. Canoeing, is there anybody that makes canoes or other canoe equipment or canoe trips or canoe books, where to go, you know, or canoe videos, or hey, we'll video your canoe trip. You know, there's all kinds of things. So if you start with your hobby, what you like doing, and then ask the question, well, who is in the business of supplying things for people who are in that? And the reason I say supplying things is, like Rodney said, cards, collecting cards. Well, there's a lot of guys who make money trading cards, right? I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people who supply the materials that you need to be able to collect cards. Because that's a thing they pay you to do. If you're going to make money selling cards, you have to be good at it, right? Because you could really lose big too, right? Yeah. So I'm not talking about that, because that's a skill. I'm talking about go work for somebody who supplies the stuff that people do for a hobby. Okay, and a destiny is what, Summer? It's what you'd pay to do. Again, that could be a hobby to the power of 10. Okay? I don't want to be working in a card company. I want to come out with a line of cards. I'm going to be the guy that makes rapper cards or whatever. Gang member cards. What other kind of cards? Famous people in Las Vegas cards. People that made it, came from nowhere and made it cards. Something that you would pay to do. So that's a thing that I want to be the best at this thing. I want to go down in history. I want to be the Howard Moskowitz of whatever your hobby is. So the proactive plan starts with that. What is it I really like doing? What do I want to do? And here, if your thing is what would I do for free, it ends up being a little bit than what I would do, what I would pay to do. Because over here, you might need an education. You might need to go back to school. You might need to do something. You might say, well, if I really want to be the Lucius Lion of this business, I need to go learn how to talk to people. I need to go to school to learn to sell. Or I need to join Toastmasters. Or I need to go to church and get into this church. Or I need to join a record label, and I need to go and learn how to be an engineer. I need to learn how to do my own music. I need to learn how to do the mixing part, how to run the equipment. And I can't just learn the equipment horizontally from somebody else. I need to learn from the best people. So if it's your destiny, you should probably be prepared that you're going to have to spend money to be able to get to that place. There are exceptions. You know, some people get lucky. But what you should plan is, if it is your destiny, you're willing to pay to do it. Okay? If it's something you do for free, then that means you're willing to spend time, your time, instead of watching TV, instead of just going out and sitting around, whatever, instead of doing that, you invest your time in this to learn to do this so that somebody will pay you. I don't remember whether the video we saw today had one of the following lines on it, but one of the videos that's like that video says, you know, people say they want to do this, but they don't really want to do it. They're not willing to put in the time to get good grades in school. In fact, at one of them he says, people would rather sleep than go to work or do things. Is that in today's video? Okay, so that's another video by one of the guys that was speaking in this video today. He's talking about, you know, people say they want to do these things, but the reality is people would rather just sleep. I'm tired. I don't feel like doing it. I'll do it later. Okay? That's the big enemy, because we have limited amount of time to do stuff. If you just say, I'm only willing to put in not 50 minutes per class here, I'll put in about 10 good minutes, and then I'll kind of coast along. You're not going to get to where you want to be. You can't change by doing things the same. You can't. But to make it easy, put your energy into something that would be a hobby, something you like doing, not, oh, geez, we got to do typing again. I hate typing. Okay? But I need to type, because if I want to get ahead, I have to know how to type. Put your energy into something you like doing. So the first part of the employment plan starts with understanding the proactive plan, understanding that there's jobs and there's careers. A job is something you do for the money while pursuing a career. So what's a job?
While you're pursuing a career.
While you're pursuing a career. Because otherwise, you run the risk of just becoming a wage slave. I hate my job, I hate my life, but I can't quit because I need the money. Right? Okay. If you're doing this because you want to do this, that's perfectly okay. People who go work in telemarketing because they want to be good at it, it's a stepping stone, do really well. Most people who do telemarketing because they have to pay the bills, they do the minimum they have to do because they keep reminding themselves how much they hate it. To do what's called a reframe. What's a reframe? A reframe is a psychological term. So it's, yeah, you turn it around. Little kids, I hate going to the dentist. A reframe would be, but if I go to the dentist, my teeth won't hurt anymore. So I have a little bit of pain, but then I'm going to be happy. Otherwise, I'm going to be in a lot of pain, a little bit of pain all the time. So it's to take something and reframe it to be good. All right, so we start with this concept. There's jobs and there's careers. It's okay to take a job if you need to pay the bills while you're pursuing a career. If you used to work at a pizza parlor, you know how to make pizzas, it's easy for you. You want to do something else, well, until that something else comes in, work over here. And you won't not like it. Okay, once you do that, and then you need to figure out, well, what is it that I want as a career? And an easy way to do that is to think of what?
Your hobby.
Your hobby. Think about your hobby. What would I do as a hobby? Then, once you do that, then you think about what? Who does that? Who supplies something for that hobby? Okay. So again, Lisa said canoeing. So Lisa, what are some of the things that you could think of when people supply something for canoeing? Who are people that supply the stuff? Not the stores, but make. No. What kind of things do people make that want to be involved in canoeing? People who make boats, right? The canoes, the life preservers, right? Ropes. There's all kinds of stuff. Okay, there's all kinds of stuff that people make stuff for people who want to have canoeing as a hobby. Yeah, you could get into camping gear, because if you're going to go canoeing, you might spend the night, right? Okay, so if you're going to, especially in Alaska, so if you're going to spend the night somewhere, not only do you need camping gear, what else do you need? Okay, camping gear. What else besides camping gear? Food. Right, what else? It's me, booze. I have to lubricate the joints in the morning. It's too hard sleeping on the ground. So you need all kinds of stuff. And that's part of this career, being in this business. I have a cousin that really liked to cook. That was his hobby. He went away to Italy his junior year, fell in love, loved cooking, opened a delicatessen when he got back, decided, that was a little bit too limiting. He wanted to do more. He learned more. He ultimately now has a position at Nestle, which is one of the largest food companies. And he's head of sales of some big division of Nestle for the West Coast. And then for him, it's all about food, because Nestle spends billions of dollars on food research. How do you make food that people want to pay for? Okay, so once you do that, you identify, well, what kind of things do people make for people who have this as a hobby, and you just write your list down. So what was yours, Joseph? Bowling. Bowling. Okay, so it would be the same thing. All of the people who supply stuff for people who like bowling. Clothing lines, right? You can get down to that, not just the balls, but the kind of clothes that you wear, the bowling bags, shoes, right? Patches, put on your stuff, tournament. There's guys at the club that like bocce so much. Who knows what bocce is? Bocce ball. Italian game. You roll these balls. Pretty simple. But they want to have a national tournament in Las Vegas this summer. Invite people from all over the country who like playing bocce come here to be in a tournament. And do you think they're going to make money?
I guarantee you.
Yeah, they can make money, because if you're willing to come to Las Vegas, you'll spend a couple $100s to be in a tournament, and then you need trophies, right? You need all kinds of stuff. So who supplies the stuff? And then you do your research on that. So who supplies the stuff? But now you need a map. You need a map. Why do you need a map? Huh? Right? Okay. So you need to know where they are, or you need to know who's where you are. Because if you want to be in the canoe hobby business, well, not the hobby business, if you want to be paid by somebody who supplies things for people not in the canoe hobby business, and you're here, but they're in, say, Washington, they might not have any reason to pay you to be here, right? They might say, well, we don't really have a canoeing market in Las Vegas. There's not many people who canoe for a hobby here in Las Vegas. You either need to move downriver or you need to move upriver. So if you want to stay here, you need to find people who supply the materials for the hobby near you. Or if you want to move, your map shows you what? It shows you places where you pick where you want to go, and you do the same thing. Well, are the people that supply things for the hobbies where I want to go? Yes? Good. If no, then you ultimately might have to go back and make it easy and just say, well, where are these people? Where are the people who supply the stuff located? Because if I want to work for them, I might have to work at their place. So you have your map now, and you identify 3 to 5 companies that you would like to work for. And then what do? You do your research. You learn everything you can about them. So if you were a Jesuit, what would you do? What would your thing be? What would you say to yourself? I need to know more about that company than they know, than the average employee knows. I need to know more about that company than the typical person at that company knows. I need to know, if I know more about that company than the person interviewing me knows about that company, and when they ask me the question, why do you want to work here? I should be able to knock that one out of the park, right? Because I know more about that company than they do. If I'm in an interview with somebody and they say, why do you want to work here? And I tell them a fact, and they say, huh, I didn't even know that. That's pretty good. How did you find that out? How'd you know that? And you're able to tell them something they didn't know that they like. What do you think they're going to think about you? Worse or better?
Better.
Better. Okay? But that's because you didn't cut corners and just say, I'm going to send in a resume, I'm going to change a few things on it, because I'm looking for a sales job here, not a cooking job. So I'm going to take out everything having to do with cooking and put in sales. I don't really know about the company, or I'll just spend 10 minutes or half an hour before I go. If you start from the Jesuit stoical thing of, I want to know more about that business than the person interviewing me. And that takes time to do, right? Because they work there. They probably work there for a while if they get to do the interviewing. Because usually companies don't bring people in to be doing interviewing who don't know about the company they work for, in case they get asked the question, like Tiger Todd will flip it around with you. Well, why do you want to work for our company? What's so good about our company that you like? Tiger Todd, one approach is to just flip it around on them. Or what do you think we need to improve here? Or how do you think we can improve our business? This is almost a direct quote from Tiger Todd, one of his things. How do you think we can improve our business? How can you help us make this a better company? Well, you've been here a lot longer than I do. How do you think I can help you? Okay, that's kind of a trick, but that's okay. You need to be prepared for these things. You need to have all the right tools in your tool bag or your toolbox. So, but if you know more or as much about that company as the person who's interviewing you, it's going to do you well, but that takes time. You have to do your research. You can't rely upon tricks. Because if the person says, how do you think you can help us be a better company? And you say, well, how do you think I can help you? And he says, I asked you first. Now what? Check. Now what?
Whoops.
If you didn't do your research, now what? You're dead. It's over. There's a fork in you already. Okay? So, those things are good, but there's not substitutes for doing the work and putting in the time. You need to do the work and put in the time. So now, we've identified there's jobs and there's careers, and careers there's callings and destinies. In a job, it's perfectly acceptable to do while you're pursuing a career. If it's your hobby, you focus on who supplies the materials. If it's a destiny, what do I need to know or learn? What do I need to learn? That's the question over on the destiny side. If you want to be the Steve Jobs of the computer business, what do you need to learn to be able to do that? He had to learn a lot. One of the things, if you watch the movie, he had to learn how to talk to people on the phone because he didn't have any customers. Nobody was coming to them. He had to learn to be very good at doing a trade show. So in that movie, again, if you watch it and you go to the Atari scene where he's saying everybody's a bunch of idiots, nobody knows what they're doing, what's wrong with these people, and then fast forward to the first trade show he does where he's shaven, he's wearing a suit, and he's saying, now I can promise you this. This is the best thing. I can promise you that. He's not saying to anybody, you people are a bunch of morons if you don't buy the computer. Okay, he's being somebody that people want to believe in. He had to learn to do that because his natural tendency was, you people are a bunch of idiots, even up until the end. But he got that he couldn't get where he wanted to be if all he did was tell people how stupid they were. So if you want to go the destiny route, you have to say, what do I need to learn? And people skills is usually at the top of the list. Because if people believe you, whatever you tell them, and I'm saying, sorry, take that back. If people believe in you, if they believe in you, then whatever you tell them, they will what? Believe. You need to buy this computer. If they believe in you and you say, you need to buy this computer, they'll believe you. And what happens if they believe you when you say you need to buy this computer? You're going to buy it. If you're sitting in a job interview and people believe in you and you tell them to hire you, what will they do if they believe in you? They'll hire you. Somebody says, why should we hire you? And what they hear you say is, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, that's another one. That's the end. But if you say, in effect, say, I don't know, why should I hire you over these other 100 people? And if what they hear you say is, I don't know, which could be said 1,000 different ways, but it basically is, you can't tell me why I should hire you. I need a job. That doesn't tell me why I should hire you. That tells me why you think I should hire you. That tells me what you want. It doesn't tell me what I asked you. My mother's sick. Okay, well, that doesn't tell me why I should hire you. That just tells me why that. So if you can't tell me why I should hire you, I'm going to believe you. There's no reason. Right? If you don't know a reason why I should hire you, you're supposed to tell me why I should hire you. Now, sometimes it works out that somebody sees a diamond in the rough. Nolan Bushnell did that with Steve Jobs. Everybody else said, let's take this guy out back and beat the shit out of him. He said, no, this guy has talent. We need to develop that talent. So, jobs, this, danger is becoming a wage slave, doing something you hate, calling, who supplies the stuff that's in the business that I like. And if you think about it and just start doing a white paper, term should have meaning to everybody, if you start doing a brain dump and just writing down every company, don't say shoes, oh, nobody will hire me to do shoes, I'm going to cross that one out. Just put down everything you can think of. Shoes, bowling patches, bowling keychains, bowling, what are these things called? Protective covers for these things. Bowling backgrounds for my desktop. You just start listing everything you can think of somebody who supplies stuff. Something, more than one thing will catch your attention. And then you do your research, and then you figure out, you use your map, where are they, where am I willing to go where they are they where I am? And you find a match. You find here's what they want, here's what you want, and you need to move it up here so that it looks like this. So there's overlap in it. Okay? If it's a destiny, what do I need to learn? And you could be working for somebody here who's in the business that you have as a hobby. You take a calling position, but your real ambition is to be destiny. I want to have a newspaper. I want to be a publisher. Well, I'm going to go work at this paper because I do it for free. I love paper, but I really want to have my own paper. So I need to learn the paper business from somebody who does it. Not a job. I don't hate it. I'd do it for free. But I really want to have my own paper. So, and it could be, I really want to have my own paper. You come here and you say, I want to have my own paper. But nobody's going to hire me here. So I'm going to need to get a job in order, while these people, one of these three companies is waiting for one of these three companies to hire me. Once I learn here, then I can go do my own thing. So let's apply that in the last minute to Fifth Avenue Restaurant Group. I really want to be in the restaurant business. Okay? I like food. I like dealing with people. People have to eat. It's going to be around for the next 20, 50 years. I don't have to worry about that business becoming obsolete. People are going to eat 3 times a day. So I'm going to take a job just to be able to pay the bills. If that job means I have to wait tables while I'm waiting for a job as a cook, I'll do that. I'll go wait tables. I'll go do work in the food court. I really want to start my own restaurant business, but I need to know about restaurants. If that means I have to start here while I'm waiting for a position in that restaurant to open up, guess what I do? I do that. What did the woman from Stations Casino say about how they do it? You take the what jobs? What do they call them?
On-call.
The on-call jobs, is that what they call them? You take those jobs. That's something you do for money while you're pursuing a career. You take that job while you're waiting for a better job because maybe you want to be in the hotel business in the future. You have an idea for a new type of hotel for the future that you don't need to check in. You just have your cell phone. You make reservations on your cell phone. You walk in the lobby, it knows who you are. Your phone says, oh, you're in room 502. Go up to 502. You've got the phone. Door unlocks. You walk in the room. What's in there? The pictures on the wall are just LCD things that have your favorite pictures there. They already have your favorite booze or whatever you want to drink in the little refrigerator because you put your profile down. Your computer is already, you just have to turn it on and log in, ready to go. You have your alarm clock set. Okay, with technology, that's not a hard thing to do. Nolan Bushnell talked about that at a conference about 8 years ago. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to pick this up. What I want everybody to be doing and thinking about is building your resume, the foundation of your resume of who are you and where do you want to go. Okay, so you need to figure this out. You know, what would you do as a hobby? Or if you already know where you want to work, you know some companies, that's what we need to focus on. Okay, California, we've gone over time.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions here for Ed?